Yes, I'm Heidi Wallis, and I'm with the Association for Creatine Deficiencies. And I have two children that are affected by a creatine deficiency, which is why I have joined with the association and why I'm passionate about what I do.
How do you go about getting a researcher interested in developing a treatment for a rare genetic disorder?
That's a really great question, and I think it's on the top of everyone's mind who is advocating for a rare disorder. In my opinion, and from my experience with Association for Creatine Deficiencies, I would say the first thing you need to do is work on disease awareness. So examples of that might be building up your social media resources, setting up a website, recording videos, getting blog posts from parents, sharing posts that are relevant to your disorder, just doing anything you can so that your disorder is out there officially. It's findable. It might be that you watch your Google rankings and you'll see that when people search for certain symptoms, because you're doing blog posts and you're doing disease awareness campaigns that have links back to your website, you start becoming more out there and visible for researchers and pharma company. And once you kind of nailed that and you're going to conferences that relate to your disorder. So for example, if it's a neurological disorder, I'd recommend going to Children's Neurology Foundation and having a booth there, or if that's not in your budget, just walking the hallways, getting pamphlets from other groups and talking and making connections, just getting your disease out there as much as you can. You can also have efforts locally. You can go to your state rare disease day events and meet other advocacy groups that are in your area and network with them. Just building awareness with literally anyone kind of has a snowballing effect. And before you know it, people know your disorder, they've heard of it. And then as far as how this ties in with research and pharma, if your disorder is relevant to work that they are doing, and a lot of times there are crossovers between disorders, it will be more relevant to them. So for example, if a pharma company tends to work on enzyme replacement therapies and your disorder is to do with an enzyme deficiency, those would be great pharma companies to target, and those pharma companies can be targeting you as well, and you don't realize that. And looking at what you're putting out, looking at your work, looking at the community you're building to see if you would be a good group to work with. Do you have the pull with your community to be able to help disseminate information for them and to support, if they become more and more interested in your disorder, possible future clinical trials? So building awareness, building your network, getting yourself out there can do a whole lot of good that you don't even realize while you're doing it. So as far as researchers, a good example is hosting events that are centered around your disease. So maybe a conference. Conferences are great because they can come and listen to all the experts, and that's really motivating. It's great for networking. They get a really good understanding of the disorder, and they can find a network of support for possible future research. Conferences are really a great way to invite pharma in as well, to meet your community. Not only are they learning and networking, but meeting the families is huge. That's a huge motivator to say there's something real that we can research and help real people with, and build that connection with the families. And so, you know, it's a long progression. A lot of this is really hard to do if you're early on, but I think that's a good kind of overall timeline of what the steps you would need to take to get from getting off the ground, building your, you know, advocacy group from ground zero, website, social media, finding families by just being there, being out on Facebook and other outlets, and then building that up to getting more involved with collaborative partners, with local events, and eventually hosting events and bringing everyone together.